So, if you guys are not aware, I covered a story recently about good old IGN, our best friends over at IGN, which apparently I found out from the internet. Somebody left a comment saying that IGN stands for I'm gay now. I didn't know that. I don't know if you guys knew that. I didn't know that, but apparently that's a thing. So, our friends over at IGN, we covered a story the other day about how they apparently wrote this weird like story or something like that where it says replaced developers blasted. Well, I mean, this is from DemoFlow Gaming over on Rumble. I'm sorry, not Rumble, Twitter. He says replaced developers blasted IGN for a misleading post. IGN is doing more harm than good to the gaming industry these days. And what was he talking about? Well, he was talking about this review about the game Replaced that IGN specifically said, and I quote, Sad Cat Studios should be commended for crafting such a gripping and gorgeous 2.5D action platformer, even though Replaced is one AI-based adventure that could do with a system update to completely iron out the bugs, right? Now, when I covered this story, I was pretty pissed. And the reason why is because, first off, I really like this game. All right, I really like this game. Replace is a really good game. And it's actually amazing to me because this game you can clearly see was not made with AI. This game you can clearly, at least from a visual standpoint, you can clearly fucking see that this game was made with like tireless effort, right? The animations and everything, the style, all of it, you can clearly see it wasn't made with AI. And the sad thing is that IGN is going to get away with this because they're going to be able to say, well, we actually weren't saying that it was made with AI. We were talking about the story and people just took us the wrong way, right? They'll blame it on you taking them the way that they obviously meant you to take them, but they'll try to gaslight you and say they never meant it that way. Whatever. Anyway, so IGN made it seem as if Replaced was made with generative AI, and the developers had to come out and they had to say, as we have seen, some people misunderstand what IGN means by AI-based. We just want to clarify this game was 100% handcrafted. No generative AI was used to make this. What IGN is referring to is the story that is about AI in an alternative 80s America. Now, here's the thing. I'll be real with you. Even if this game was made with Gen AI, the game is fucking amazing, okay? I would honestly think that this was a really impressive story for AI, you know, if it was really made with, but it's not. It's not, right? Like this game is a story about an alternate reality 80s America where you fuse your consciousness with an AI called Reach, where you guys, whether it's accidental or purposeful, I don't know yet. I'm not that far in the story, but your consciousness, it fuses with the AI, and you essentially are traveling through the city that you were unaware of in terms of like its current form, and you're trying to get back to the laboratory so that you guys can, you know, put everything back to normal. Whatever. Really good story. Really interesting. A lot of lore, a lot of callbacks to like old school pop culture stuff and even modern day pop culture stuff. Really, really cool game. And that's kind of what pissed me off about this because I really actually like this game a lot. But anyway, so here's the thing, right? I think that there was a conversation that was had over at IGN recently, all right, with this particular story being the catalyst for the changes that I'm about to show you. Okay, so obviously the developers can, you know, I know people are going to be like, you can sue IGN, whatever. It'll be very hard to prove, but you could definitely get something because at the end of the day, IGN could potentially cost you a lot of sales because of their platform and because of the fact that they misrepresented your game. You can't claim ignorance. You can't claim, well, we didn't want people to take us that way. You guys wrote certain words that the world started taking as fact, and that's going to cost these developers sales, whether you want to admit it or not. Here's the thing. I think a conversation was had over at IGN because I discovered something. I want to show you guys a screen cap. This is what IGN's website. I'm sorry, not PC. I'm sorry, not IGN. Not IGN. PC Gamer. Okay. I'm talking about PC Gamer, because all of this, I think there's a bit of a panic mode going on here. Because PC Gamer, I'm almost positive they saw what went down with IGN and they decided, look at this really quick. I want to show you something. So all this drama lately that's been happening with outlets, and I made a video, by the way, talking about this. So if you guys missed it, check it out, please. I made a video talking about journalist outlets and how lately they just seem to be more egregious. PC Gamer, IGN, Kotaku, they're all being like a little bit more egregious lately. I don't know if it's because their jobs are coming due, right? Like they're trying to figure out ways to get all of these I don't even know how to explain it. Like all of these I guess clicks, and they're desperately trying to keep themselves relevant. Kotaku's been writing some crazy shit lately. All right. I think that this situation with Replaced and IGN caused a little bit of a panic mode all throughout the industry, because I noticed a change today with PC Gamer. What's wrong with their face? Ignore the face. Ignore the face, please. Okay. This right here is a screen cap. Okay. It's a screen cap from April 15th, right? From PC Gamer, April 15th. Okay. And I also want to be very clear before I show you what I'm about to show you. There are other websites that have already started making these changes as well. Okay. They just did it sooner. Right. But I'm starting to see that it's happening more. Now, this was the screen cap, and I want you to remember what this looks like. Okay. Remember what this looks like. I went over to PC Gamer earlier today, just to kind of see what's going on in the world and whatnot, in the world of gaming and shit. And I came across this change that happened. Because again, keep in mind, the last screenshot I showed you was from April 15th. Okay? This screenshot was from today. What do you notice is different? What do you notice is different? Right? So, in case you guys can't see, which I'm sure you can, but in case you can't, they actually changed their news segment. They changed their news segment on their website to now be news and opinion. So now they added the word opinion to their news section, because I think what's happening is that they're slowly starting to realize that the feltoning is just being a little bit it's too much, right? I think the legal departments over at these websites have had discussions, and I think by them changing it to news and opinion, that they feel like they can start getting away with some of the shit that they've been doing, because they'll just label it as opinion. You know? I just find this to be actually pretty hilarious. Now, keep in mind, there are other websites that have made these changes already, right? I believe, forgive me if I'm wrong, I believe Kotaku has made this change a while ago. PC Gamer did not have this on their website as of April 15th. I checked the Wayback Machine. That's how it was. April 15th is how it just said news. It didn't say anything about news and opinion, right? But actually, no, Kotaku still has just news. Kotaku just has news. So I know there are some websites that have this, but Kotaku is not one of them. So PC Gamer is trying to get ahead of it by putting opinion in front of their news section and hoping that that somehow saves them from, you know, what just happened to IGN. Because again, IGN, what they did was so egregious. I feel like there is a conversation that needs to be had. Because if I were to, let's say, for example, if I were to make a video and I were to say that, you know, it is a fact that, you know, Replace was made with AI, which is essentially what they did, right? Even though they don't want to say that, that's essentially what they did. They basically said it's an AI-based story. That's a pretty fucked up thing to say. If I were to make a video saying that Replace was made with AI 100%, well, that's bad. Now, if I were to say, obviously, all my videos are my opinion because they're my videos. I'm not a news organization. I'm not a news website. Like they're all, I'm one person. They're all my opinion. So if I were to say, you know, in my opinion, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Well, that's obviously protected speech. I'm just kind of assuming and guessing and kind of seeing where things are going. But that's not what these guys did. right? So I don't know if PC gamers saw what happened to IGN and they were like, we need to change things. Because why change this? Right? If you're delivering the news, well, then the news should not be opinionated. The news should just be the facts, whatever the facts may be, right? Whether it's something you agree with or not. See, the problem is that they know that what they're reporting as news is usually convoluted with their own opinion and their own bias. So now they're looking for an excuse or a reason to have that opinion and to have that bias. And that way, if people want to give them shit for having that, then they could just point to this and say, well, it says our opinion. It says this is our opinion, right? So at this point, you're not a news organization. You know what I mean? You're not a news organization. Now you're just giving your opinion. You're all opinion pieces. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But then you should probably have it as separate tabs. You shouldn't put news and opinion together. It should be news and then it should be opinion pieces. Keep them separate so that way people know what kind of information they're looking for. But by combining the two, now we don't know whether or not your news is news or whether or not it's your opinion. You know, I don't know. It's a fucking joke. So when I saw this, I couldn't help but think that the IGN situation had something to do with it. Because even though I know these indie developers are not going to do anything, I highly doubt they're going to sue IGN. I highly doubt they're going to say anything. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I think situations like this have a little bit of a, ripple effect. And you can clearly see that PC Gamer's website went over with a fine-tooth comb by somebody's lawyer, right? Like somebody's lawyer went through it and was like, hey, you should probably change the news segment to news and opinion. So that way you guys are a little bit more protected in case some dumb shit like this happens. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Very interesting stuff. But overall, I'm actually very curious. Does IGN have news and opinion? I don't even know. Let me see. I'm so curious. Does IGN have news and opinion? They do not. IGN just has news, and that's it. See, that's what makes it so weird. Why does PC Gamer have news and opinion, but IGN does not, or Kotaku does not? Like none of these places have news and opinion, but PC Gamer does. That's so interesting to me. Also, keep in mind, by the way, just so you guys are aware, I know I told you before, but just to kind of summarize all this, IGN has also already changed this. They changed their review to remove the AI thing from it. I know I covered that the other day, but in case anybody's new, because it seems like a lot of you guys are new to this topic, some of you in the chat, they did change it. IGN did remove it, but by then it's too late, right? People, anybody who wanted to see a review for Replaced, they've already seen it, and now they have it in their mind that it's AI slop, according to you, essentially. It's kind of what you put out there, right? So it's such a big problem, man. But in any case, I would not be surprised, and I'll be keeping an eye on this. I would not be surprised that these websites will all start changing their news tabs to news and opinion, or at least separate them, right? I got to imagine that they're probably going to end up doing that for whatever that reason may be. But right now, I'm checking all these websites, man. Game Rant has game news. No opinion pieces. What about Games Radar? Let's check Games Radar. Games Radar has nope, game news. Nothing about opinions. I'm just checking them all right now. What about VGC? The VGC. What about Video Games Chronicle? News, reviews, features, and guides. No opinion. So right now it's PC Gamer. It's PC Gamer doing this. So whether or not anybody else follows suit, I guess we'll find out. But that's a pretty big change, in my opinion, for the overall, ironically, in my opinion, for the overall gaming media landscape. I think this is one of the first. Oh, check the Gamer. I could check the Gamer. I think this is one of the first iterations of changes that we're going to be seeing all throughout all of these websites. The Gamer does not have it, by the way. The Gamer just says news and that's it. So I think that a lot of people are going to follow suit from PC Gamer, and they're going to start adding news and opinion to their websites. But again, we will find out and we will see what happens from there. But I think that does have a little bit to do with what happened to IGN, because that story went viral. The story with Replaced, let me see. It went pretty viral. It had like hundreds of thousands of views. I don't know if it hit like million plus at that point, but still, it's a pretty big story. So we'll see what happens from there. But I just found that to be very, very, very interesting and very funny. So.